Well, hello everyone, how are you doing this fine day? Hope you're enjoying your week. Welcome to another survival challenge, in particular, a Doom the Dark Ages survival challenge. For people who've never been to my channel before, the concept of the video is simple. Take a bunch of characters from a bunch of different universes and I chuck them into one universe and see how the story might differ if I change some little aspect and throw them in instead of some other character. In this particular video, I'm going to be removing Doom Guy, the Doom Slayer, and I will instead be replacing them with one of these four characters. And you know the basic drill. Now, there is one slight alteration to how I make in this video than how I've done the ones in the past. In my past Doom the Dark Ages videos, what I basically did is ignore one side of the conflict. So like I would take Doom Guy out and I would throw in, some character to replace him, and I would say what would happen, how would he be able to overcome the Doom demons, but I completely ignore the Sentinels. Because, I just thought it would be strange if he was able to use the Sentinel technologies and they'd be able to support him in the war and all that kind of stuff, and it would basically be kind of dumb. But for this one, we're going to change it up a little bit, and we're actually going to talk about how the Sentinels might influence what goes on and how these characters interact with the Sentinels. Will they support each other? Will they fight each other? What cool little character moments might come up with those interactions while also trying to fight off Ahzrak and his Demon Hordes? And I think I've picked four characters for this scenario that would make those particular interactions very, very interesting. Also, for people who've been on my channel for a while, we are at 33,000 subs. Remember, we get to 35,000 subs, I'm gonna make my ultimate Doom versus He-Man survival challenge, where I go in deep, just really get in there and just fist that lore, just everything I could possibly fit into one video about the He-Man universe and what would happen if it collided with the Doom universe. Big ass, maybe hour and a half long video, whatever. It will come out when we get to 35,000 subs, only 2,000 more. Thank you everybody who has subscribed, and thank you to all the future people who will. But I've wasted enough of your time. Let's get started. First up on the chopping block, we have Atom Smasher from the Cyberpunk universe. So the question that we have to ask here, I think, is pretty obvious to everyone, and that is, when is slavery justifiable? What? You need... Jesus Christ. Okay. At the beginning of Doom the Dark Ages, Doom Guy is enslaved through crazy techno magic shit by the makers. The reason why he's enslaved is because he was put through the divinity machine and given massive amounts of power, and he's an outsider. He's not a sentinel, he's not a maker, he's from a totally different universe, totally different timeline, whatever you want to call it. They don't know who this person is, and he was granted tons and tons of power, enough to the point that if he wanted to, he could kill literally every sentinel in existence and drive them to complete extinction. They also didn't want to just imprison him because they needed him. Due to the war with the demons that they could not win and they were on the losing side of, having the Doom Slayer as a slave they could just throw at the front lines and have him just slaughter a bunch of demons, saving the lives of their own people, was super, super useful. I would consider this an unjustifiable slavery. Obviously, you're taking a dude and enslaving him for something that you're afraid he might do but gave you no real reason to believe he would. You're essentially just enslaving a person as a precaution so they don't do something that you're afraid they might when they gave you no reason to. It's, yeah, absolutely unjustifiable. Atom Smasher, on the other hand, is an interesting situation. So Atom Smasher is a very, very powerful being. He's more powerful than the average sentinel. He's not as powerful as Doom Slayer, but he's very, very fucking powerful. He was able to survive David Martinez's super ridiculously overpowered gravity attack, which I did the math on that months ago. I don't exactly remember what it was, but it was hundreds of thousands of tons of pressure on top of him. It was enough to completely flatten a tank and push like solid rock inward down a solid 6 feet. And not only did this not damage him at all, but he was capable of walking in this amount of gravity as well as talking and turning his neck, and like he didn't have any issues. Atom Smasher's body is specifically designed to survive being in the center of a nuclear explosion without taking any damage or without any of his internal shit, whether that be organs or like technological shit, being messed up at all. He's a very, very durable, very, very strong character. He is also a complete fucking psychopath who is obsessed with murder. So I can't think of a situation in the real world where I would say that slavery is or was or could be justifiable. I have no idea. However, in a fictional universe like the Doom universe, where you have the Sentinels who are on the brink of extinction because they're going to war with a bunch of demons that are trying to pull their souls into another universe so they could torture them forever. They're about to be wiped out. They have this giant walking nuclear war warhead that can help them fight and slaughter tons and tons of demons, but that nuclear warhead is also a fucking psychopath, and you happen to have mind control technology that you can then control that person and send him at the front lines, I'll be honest with you, I think that's probably pretty fucking justifiable. I would be totally okay. If you put me in front of a button, right, and I was in the same situation, there's demons invading, oh shit, demons are about to kill us. If you press this fucking button, Adam Smasher will become a slave and done. It's been pressed. You can't even finish asking the fucking question. There would be zero moral dilemmas going through my mind in that particular scenario. Adam Smasher's getting fucking enslaved and he's getting chucked at the front lines. So remember, kids, Daddy Rouga says slavery can be justified. I'm sure no one's going to clip that section of the video and send it to people out of context. Yeah. This is gonna go great. Truth be told, while Adam Smasher is insanely powerful and should absolutely be able to kill tons and tons and tons of demons, there are some very serious weaknesses that he has. Unlike Doom Guy, if he is enslaved by the makers and forced to the front lines, he doesn't have any way of fighting against it. Doom Guy was able to adapt to it and eventually overcome. Adam Smasher can't. While he is shown being able to overcome hacking, this is not hacking. This is like a magical mind control bullshit thing. Like, there's no evidence that he can undo this level of mind control that's not specifically based on hacking technology. But I don't really even think this is going to work all that long because Adam Smasher is insanely susceptible to corruption. He's literally a cyber psycho. Like, that's what the fucking creator of Cyberpunk said. He said that he's a functioning cyber psycho. His mind has already been broken under the weight of his own desires to fucking massacre people. It would be extraordinarily easy for a demon to tempt him into becoming a demon so that he could just slaughter more and more people, because that's really the only fucking thing he cares about. He doesn't care about his own humanity. He's already got rid of most of his human parts to the point that he's basically fully machine now. This has got to be top 3 most corruptible characters I've ever put in a Doom challenge. It's so clear to me this motherfucker's getting corrupted. So what do I think is gonna happen? I think the Sentinels are maybe gonna try working with Adam Smasher at first, very quickly realize he's a fucking psycho. The makers are gonna mind fuck him so that they can properly control him and still use him in battle against the demons. I could see a really cool scenario where the makers actually upgrade his tech and give him maker technology, so you have like this cool upgraded maker tech version of Adam Smasher that's even more powerful than he is in the Cyberpunk version. But eventually, doesn't matter how long it takes, I do eventually see him getting corrupted or even having his mind control being overwritten by Ahzrak, basically becoming a demonic maker technology infused Adam Smasher, which sounds so fucking cool. I do want to see it. But that's as far as he's gonna go. He's not gonna make it to the cosmic realm. He's not gonna wipe out tons of demons, getting all the way to Ahzrak. He's not really gonna challenge them in any way because he's too susceptible to basically anything they do. Their soul destroying powers are gonna kill him. Their mind control powers are gonna fuck him up. Their corruption's gonna fuck him up. Anything they have that's not just straight up walking up and punching a bitch is gonna fuck him up seriously. They don't have hacks like that in Cyberpunk, so he doesn't have any defense for it. And even having said all that, honestly, Adam Smasher's too slow for this universe. Like, he's really fast in the Cyberpunk universe. He's one of the fastest characters in the entire Cyberpunk universe, actually. But we've seen characters in Doom be able to dodge and react to light-based attacks, which is considerably faster than anything that we've seen from Cyberpunk. I mean, it's not even fucking close. Like, they do see bullets moving in slow motion. Like, bullets are basically not frozen, but they're like very slowly moving through the air. So that's definitely faster than sound. And people who can use Sandevistan, which is the technique that allows them to slow down time like that, like Adam Smasher, are going many times faster than sound. But saying that it's even close to the point of light, there's a big fucking gap. That would be quite a reach to say that. So yeah, I like Adam Smasher. I think it's cool that he would be here. But at the end of the day, he's just going to be a tool that's used for the makers, and then eventually a tool that's used for the demons, and that's about it. If you're enjoying the video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and join the membership. Remember, you join the membership, you get exclusive access to videos that nobody else can watch, because capitalism is king, baby. Don't forget to go down to the pinned comment where you will see a link to the Discord. We have all sorts of fun activities, from debate streams to art competitions to writing competitions to D&D to tier list streams, and so much more. Are you tired of this ad? So am I. Let's continue on to the video. Next up on the list, we have Talion from the Middle Earth series. This is another one that's really really interesting. Because on one hand, Talion's actually not that powerful compared to the Doom universe. Like, if you take him and chuck him in, he wouldn't even be able to compete with most Sentinels. They're faster, they're physically stronger than he is. They're arguably more skilled since many of them are billions of years old. Like, Talion in the Middle-earth series fighting against a troll, you know how that's like a really difficult fight in that game and it takes a long time and it's almost kind of like a mini boss fight? Any cyber demon that Talion comes into contact with will be like that times 10. Like, you'll have basic bitch demons on the ground, not bosses, that are considerably harder than some of the strongest people that Talion fights in the Middle-earth games. And I don't want to hear any people talking about the novels and how the novels are like these ultimate god level. I don't care. We're going off the Middle-earth games, and the Middle-earth games, nothing in here is all that powerful. You also have the fact that a lot of Talion's powers, or his most useful powers, are basically going to be all but fucking useless. Like, one of the most useful abilities he has is his ability to resurrect. When you destroy his body, regardless of what happens to it, his soul leaves his body, it goes somewhere else, it rebuilds his body, and boom, he's back. Resurrection. Awesome, right? Demons can fucking destroy and steal souls. That completely undoes his resurrection ability. You kill his body, the soul leaves, they can literally just snatch the fucking soul, drag it to hell, destroy it with their fucking demonic magic, because demon magic is capable of destroying souls. We see that when you fight against the Revenants. So unlike his own game, Talion's not going to have an infinite number of lives where he just keep trying over and over and over again fighting against demons. There's also not a whole lot of evidence that his mind control abilities is going to affect the demons in any real way either. Yes, he does have the ability to control the minds of people using the power of his ring, but that control and that corruption ability is nowhere near the strength of demonic corruption, and the demons are already being controlled by the demonic corruption. We see characters like Ahzrak use mind control on other beings, and it is shown to be far more effective and far more potent than the version that Talion uses. Ahzrak literally controls a person's mind from another universe away, sees through his eyes and communicates out of his mouth, dominates him with ease. Talion touches their forehead and then tries to get them to do things that he wants them to do, but oftentimes they can fight him and they can even completely reject him, and if their will is over his will, he's done. It's just like there's a lot of weaknesses to his mind control that we don't see in the Doom demonic mind control. So you just basically eliminated all of his best powers. The only power that you're leaving him with is to resurrect the souls of dead warriors and have them fight in a giant ghost army, which admittedly is pretty good. This is a pretty good one. That's not a bad one at all. But we still run into the same problem where the demons are capable of corrupting, infecting, destroying, and stealing souls. So if he does resurrect an entire army of ghost sentinels to continue fighting after the grave, you're actually leaving those souls open to be corrupted by the demons or snatched, or even adding more people to the demonic army. I'm not saying that this wouldn't be useful at all, because the sentinels do have a very, very good resistance to the demonic corruption, but they're only forced to fight against the demonic corruption for a certain amount of time until they die. If they die and their souls left over, and then you're forcing their souls back into battle, you're making them be around the demonic corruption way longer than they otherwise would have been. You can essentially just continue putting their soul by the corruption to constantly be corrupted nearly forever. Now, some sentinels can do that. Valen's literally in hell for billions of years and never gets corrupted. Same with King Novik. Some characters are fine with that. They have the resistance, but not all of them. I feel like there's large portions of the Sentinel Ghost Army that are going to start turning against the other people in the Ghost Army, and you're basically going to start like a Sentinel Ghost Army civil war that wouldn't have been a fucking problem if Talion would just stop for a second and stop summoning fucking souls. But honestly, I think it's going to be a lot worse than that. As I've already said before, Doom Guy was not trusted because he was an outsider who had massive amounts of power, so they decided to enslave him and force him to serve the Makers against the demon invasion. Talion is also an outsider, and he also has a power to summon an undead army to fight for him and control the minds of the people around him. I don't really see a scenario here where the Makers and King Novik and all these people aren't like, yeah, that dude's too fucking dangerous. The only real difference here is that the Talion is not the one who's dangerous, it's the fucking ring. As we see in Middle-earth, you can actually take Talion's ring away from him and wield it yourself and use those powers yourself. They're not tied specifically to Talion. We see the white bitch do this. I'm forgetting her name. In Shadow of War, she takes Celebrimbor's ring and uses it for herself. Talion doesn't actually have to have it. It's not like it's only usable by Talion. So instead of King Novik and the Sentinels enslaving him and using him as a weapon, they could literally just cut his fucking hand off, take the ring, and then Talion will die because he cannot live without the ring. The ring literally keeps him alive. He'll die, and then the Sentinels will just have access to this ring that will allow them to control minds and summon souls to fight for them, which will be a nice little bonus against the demons. Again, I don't think it'll be an end-all be-all. It's not gonna like save them from complete annihilation, but it will be useful. And if they're selective on who they summon to fight the demons and make sure they only summon the most loyal and most willfully strong Sentinels to come back and fight for them, they could actually possibly keep the war going basically forever and never run out of soldiers by making sure to put the ghosts on the front lines and not the people who are still alive. Again, do I think it'll actually be forever? No, because the demons can destroy souls. So you will eventually run out of people to summon, but it'll be like a nice little handy thing. But honestly, the most useful part of this whole thing is something I just thought of. If King Novik and the Sentinels have access to the ring that can bring people back from the dead, not like being alive, but as souls, that means that Valen will never betray the Sentinels and the demons will never overtake them. The whole reason why the Sentinels fall is because Valen's son dies in battle, and because he wants his son back from the dead, he makes a deal with the demons. They betray him, invade Argentina, basically wipe the Sentinels from existence, and never actually bring Valen's son back. This will not be necessary if the Sentinels have access to Talion's ring because they already have the ability to bring people back via ghosts. Basically, Valen can bring his son back, speak to his son, and still be in contact with his son despite the fact that he's dead. This means the whole grief-stricken father that goes and makes a deal with the devil to bring his son back to life will likely never happen. Meaning the fall of Argentina probably won't happen, or at least it won't happen for way longer than what it eventually did, since no one betrayed them, or at least Valen didn't betray them. And honestly, given that Valen is arguably Argentinore's greatest warrior, as well as someone who we see live for billions of years in hell and not get corrupted, just give Valen the fucking ring. Talion's ring does actually corrupt the wearer, and it will corrupt whoever wears the ring, but if you give it to someone like Valen, who has been able to resist a significantly stronger corruption for billions of years, you basically completely eliminate that as a problem. He can wield it without any issues with being corrupted, see his son whenever he wants, on top of summoning an army of undead warriors to help him fight against the demonic horde. Basically, Talion showing up in this universe is going to suck for him, but be really great for Argentinor. I mean, he basically saved them without even realizing it. Is there a possibility that Talion will not be executed and his ring will not be stolen from him? Maybe he could talk himself. You know, he's a lot better at talking than Doomguy is. You know, Doomguy doesn't speak, so he's just sort of this silent dude who is super powerful, and they don't really communicate with them or try to learn anything about him. There's not really a whole lot there. Perhaps Talion can convince them that he is actually on their side and wants to help them against the demons, and he is not a threat to them. But honestly, even if he convinces them that that is the case, the ring will eventually corrupt him as the years go on. It takes decades for sure, but Talion does eventually get corrupted by the ring. It's really just a matter of time before the Sentinels realize that he's starting to be corrupted by the ring, and they will kill him. You also have the fact that he will not only be dealing with the corruption of the ring, but he will also be dealing with the added corruption of the demons, which means it will likely speed up how fast he's corrupted. Instead of decades, it might just be a couple of years, who knows. But this is something that all the Sentinels are going to witness, and again, they will likely turn on Talion, kill him, and just take the fucking ring for themselves and give it to someone who has a better resistance to corruption, like Valen, who again was literally able to deal with really strong corruption for billions and billions of years. So actually, Talion probably shouldn't be here. Talion should be before Atom Smasher because he would likely do significantly worse. However, the world of Doom is better off with Talion in it, as long as he brings the ring along with him, so he can accidentally save the entire Argentinor universe just by being there. That's very, I don't know why, that's very funny. Am I the only one that finds that very funny? Next up on the list, we have Thor from the Marvel movies, the MCU. Not the comics. I am not about to deal with that clusterfuck right now. Movies are much, much simpler. The only thing I really got to contend with the movies is the fucking bullshit star thing, where he like took the full power of a star, even though he didn't take the full power of a star. The comics are way more complicated. Several continuities and different writers come in. There's different levels of power, and certain things make sense in some stories that don't make sense in other stories. I'm not dealing with it. As for this version of Thor, the one from the movies, how strong is he? Will he survive getting hit hit in the face with a really big fucking rock, but it did like lots and lots of damage to him. It actually almost killed him. He was like, it did a lot of damage. That's about it. People always want to lean on the fucking star thing and be like, oh, well, he took the full power of a star. We know this because the dwarf said he took the full power of the star. Okay, what do you mean by that? What do you mean full power of a star? Is it fucking supernova? It's not a supernova. We know it isn't a supernova. What do you mean by the full power of a star? Please tell me how you begin to measure how much power is coming from a tiny star that's firing a fucking star laser energy beam into a magical forge to produce a magic god-killing weapon. Can you tell me how you measure that? Give me the scientific fucking formula to measure how much force. You can't do it because it's all bullshit. It's not possible. You can't do it. People want to take something as simple as the little dwarf dude saying that he took the full power of a star and then like start comparing it to fucking supernovas and shit and blowing up whole solar systems. And it's like, bro, if it was that powerful, the dwarf who's standing like 20 feet away from the fucking laser beam would be dead. Rocket would be dead. Fucking Groot would be dead. The entire space station that they are in would be destroyed. And you're saying, oh, well, I'm taking this shit way too literally. Am I taking it too literally? Because I'm not the one trying to come up with a fucking mathematical equation for this shit, which is something that the fucking writers of the scene didn't even do. We see Thor take hits that nearly kill him before and after this that is nowhere near the power of a star. It's not the power of a country. It's not the power of a city. He's not that strong. The thing that actually makes this impressive is that he's taking lots and lots of heat and lots of radiation. That's it. There isn't really any evidence that there's a ton of force coming out here. In fact, he's just standing there opening up the little thing, you know, opening the door and letting the beam hit him. And when he lets go, the beam doesn't even like shoot him to the fucking space station. The force of it kind of like makes him slowly float towards it, you know? Like he goes towards it, it clearly flings him. But if it was getting hit by the full power of a fucking supernova level attack, he would be shot immediately through the fucking space. Like it would the amount of, I think y'all aren't realizing the amount of force that is. This is clearly not that. Now I know that some people are saying that I'm not being consistent here because I'm not taking this statement literally, but I do take the statement about the quasar cannon literally because it's called a quasar cannon. And I'll let you in on a little secret. No, I don't. These videos are satire and I do it because it annoys you. If you weren't so uppity about all this shit, I'd stop fucking with you. So what exactly would happen if you took Thor from the MCU and you chucked him down and replaced Doom Guy in the events of Doom, the Dark Ages? Honestly, I don't think there would be all that much different. He's physically a lot more powerful than your normal Sentinel. He has magical weapons and stuff. One thing I think would be interesting with him that is not the case for a lot of the other characters here is that he would likely be able to utilize a lot of the magic and the runic magic and things that the Sentinels have in a way the others can't, considering he is a Norse mythological character who also has runic magic like the runic magic that's on his hammer. It's even possible that they can upgrade his hammer further by painting new runes on it or carving new runes or however they would have to do it. But putting runes on his hammer, granting his hammer new powers, making him even more powerful against the demons. There's a lot of cool stuff here with him being able to utilize the magic since the magics of the Sentinels are very heavily inspired by Norse mythology. Outside of that, I don't see them doing all that much different here. I do think that there is a less likely chance for Thor to be controlled by the Makers because I don't think he has that level of power of like world-ending dominating power that requires him to be enslaved by the Makers. Like it's arguable that he would even be able to kill all the Sentinels in a fight. While he is stronger and more physically durable than a Sentinel, the durability doesn't really matter because Sentinel's attacks completely negate durability, and we already know that his hammers are capable of being broken as Hela was able to break it, so I don't really see a reason as to why a Sentinel weapon wouldn't be superior to that of his hammer. Even the better hammer that he eventually gets was made using a very similar but admittedly superior method to the way that Mjolnir was made, so I don't think that there's a 100% chance that his hammer can't be just destroyed immediately if it clashes with a Sentinel weapon. You also have the fact that Sentinels are considerably faster as they can be compared to the Marauders given that they fight on par, and the Marauders are shown being able to dodge light speed attacks, which is way faster than anything Thor can do. Thor is arguably the slowest slowest fucking character on this list. We see how fast he is compared to Quicksilver. Quicksilver is stated by Joss Whedon to be equal speed to a bullet. This also makes sense when you watch the movie, as, well, he's killed by bullets, but also that one scene where he's running and he gets distracted and a bullet actually hits him and he doesn't even see the bullet coming. Like, him and a bullet travel around the same speed. When he's running around, Thor literally is like not moving. Like, when you see things from Quicksilver's perspective, he's running around Thor and all the other Avengers and they can't even like register his movement, and he's only going a little bit faster than sound. He's not that fast. There is very likely not going to be a single Night Sentinel that Thor comes across that will not be faster than he is. So while I do think Thor could be useful to the Sentinels given his strength and his durability and things like that, and I'm not saying that he would be blitzed by every single demon, there are definitely going to be tons and tons of demons that will not blitz him and he will be able to overpower and destroy them entirely. Thor from the MCU is not fast enough or physically strong enough to overcome everybody. He can't overcome the Titans, he can't overcome Ahzrak, he can't overcome some of the bosses or some of the faster demons. He just doesn't have that level of power to deal with it. The only reason why he's ahead of the other two is because it's most likely he will not be enslaved by the Sentinels, and at least he will be given a chance to actually go and fight against the demons, not having to deal with all the internal politics of the Makers and the Sentinels. But once he does go and fight the demons, it's very possible that he could die, as they are capable of actually killing him with their attacks, despite his durability, since their attacks can also negate durability, some of them. And they have attacks that can just straight up damage souls that Thor has no resistance to. But also, he has absolutely no way to defend against mind control or the corruption. Ahzrak at any moment can just jump into Thor's head and control him anywhere at any time from another universe if he wanted to, and there's literally nothing Thor can do about it. We know this because Thor's mind was already controlled by Scarlet Witch in Avengers 2, which is nowhere near the level of potency as Ahzrak's mind control. So once again, this is kind of a situation where he doesn't resist any of the hacks that hell has, so he's kind of fucked here. All you really have is a very, very skilled, very durable, very strong warrior who's gonna get blitzed and hacked the fuck out of without really any way of being able to overcome more than what is admittedly a rather large number of mid-tier demons. Outside of that, he's fucked. And this is if I'm completely disregarding the goofy bullshit that they started doing with his character later, where they made him fat and they made him suck at everything and he started crying all the time and he wasn't taking anything seriously. And man, they just like if I'm taking the serious cool version from Infinity War, this is about as far as it gets. If I take the later versions, he's fuck, I don't know, he's probably gonna cry in a corner somewhere and make some stupid fart joke. Remember when the MCU was kind of cool? Last up, but certainly not least, we have Eve from Stellar Blade. And this one is weird because I don't really know how her biology would be affected by okay, so people like to argue that the Doom demon corruption does indeed affect AI. I've argued this several times. No, it doesn't. There's no evidence anywhere in the series that it affects AI. There are some holograms that are saying some demonic propaganda, but there is no evidence that those holograms are AI. They can just as easily be VI that was programmed to say that by corrupted humans. And the fact that they keep repeating the same lines over and over point pretty strongly that it's not AI. In all of Doom, we only have 2 AI people, and neither of them are corrupted by the Doom demonic corruption. There is zero evidence that the demonic corruption can corrupt AI. Let's get that off the table immediately. Now, Eve is an android and is technically AI. However, at the end of the game, she becomes a Natiba, and Natiba are biological. They have human DNA. We don't have a full understanding of what her biology looks like now. Is she living metal? Is she both biological and synthetic? Is she just not an android anymore and completely 100% a Natiba? We don't know. So it becomes very difficult to understand exactly how the Doom demonic corruption would affect her, or even if it would affect her at all. I would actually say if you put Eve in the series before she becomes a Natiba, it literally would not be possible for the Doom demonic corruption to infect her, and she would be good. In fact, none of the demon's hacks would work on her. Soul destruction wouldn't work on her, because again, she's an android, doesn't have a soul. Mind control control wouldn't work on her. She's a fucking android, AI, not an actual brain. It's not biological. Like, none of that shit would work. So she has a massive, massive advantage. If you want to kill Eve, you have to actually destroy her. But all of that shit goes out the window when she becomes a Natiba. Maybe all of that shit affects her now. I don't know. They don't go into detail in the game of exactly what she is. We just know now she's the Elder Natiba, and I don't know, maybe she's still an android too? I don't know. Stop asking me questions. Honestly though, I don't 100% think it matters that much. Eve is such a pure, compassionate, kind-hearted person with basically no evil bone in her body that I just don't think the demonic corruption will really affect her anyway. Not saying it won't affect her at all, but we do see that people who are more easily susceptible to being corrupted are corrupted much faster than people who are not. Eve is basically the purest person you could possibly have, so I would assume that the corruption would take a very, very, very long time if it would ever even affect her. As far as the whole makers enslaving her thing goes, that might happen, maybe. I mean, she's powerful enough that she could be a threat and basically wipe out all the Sentinels. She is monstrously powerful by the end of that game. However, there's a really big difference between Eve and Doomguy. Doomguy is a force of death that doesn't speak. It's very easy to see how the makers and the Sentinels would see someone like Doomguy and not be aware of whether or not they could trust that person to not turn on the Sentinels and cause more problems. But Eve is like a little sweet, big-tittied girl who is like really nice all the time and says really kind things and wants to help everyone around. Like, I just find it very difficult that she's gonna show up being like, oh, hi everybody, I want to help, and oh, are you okay? Can I help you? You want some water? You want some water, sweetie? And just being this kind of this little angel that she is, and then having King Novik just be like, okay, I don't trust this bitch, fucking enslave her by force using dark fucking maker magic immediately. Fuck this bitch. And I'm just like, what? Why? This is the person you think is gonna cause the fall of your entire fucking empire. Okay, I guess. Weird. Also, I haven't really even considered Thera in this video at all, but Thera very clearly is against the whole Slayer being enslaved thing from the very beginning. She doesn't like it. She's the only person in the game who treats him like he's an actual person and not just some kind of weapon, but at least Doomguy acts like a weapon most of the time. It's really cool that Thera is capable of seeing past his more, you know, gruff nature to the point that she can see the humanity underneath. But Eve, very clearly and out in the open, is an extremely human being who, again, is compassionate and kind. As much as Thera was against enslaving Doomguy, she's going to be completely against enslaving Eve. She looks like a 22, 23-year-old girl who just wants to help people. I mean, just think about how mean it would be to enslave. Like, if you were going to enslave someone, even me personally, if I'm going to enslave someone, it would be a lot easier to enslave Doomguy than it would be Eve. Not like physically, I mean like morally. I would feel less bad about it. Eve, I would feel very, very bad enslaving Eve. Not so, like, Doomguy can deal with it. It's fine. He'll be fine. So yeah, I don't think the whole enslavement thing is really going to be an issue. I think Eve is going to show her power. She's going to very easily show King Novak, the makers, everybody else, that she is here to help people. And then she's going to go off and help and fight the demons with the possibility that she's immune to basically anything that they can do other than just outright killing her. And when it comes to actually fighting them, she's going to do really, really well. While we don't know how much faster than light she is actually faster than light, which is more than we could say about the demons in Doom. We know the demons in Doom, some of them are capable of dodging light-based attacks, but that doesn't mean they can move at light speed or faster than light speed. We actually know that Eve is faster than light due to Tacky. Tacky is a character in the game that's named Tacky because she fights using tachyon particles. Tachyon particles are specifically particles that move faster than light. They did not name this bitch Tacky and talk about her fighting style being based on tachyon particles just for the fun of it. This was clearly meant to show that she is faster than light. Eve is faster than her. Eve beats her, steals all her powers, and then goes on to play another 30% of the game where she gets faster and faster and even more powerful. By the end of the game, she's capable of fighting all of the other Eve androids at the same time, all of which are light speed, by the way, and be able to wipe them all out without being touched by any of them. She is considerably faster than light. She will be blitzing the fuck out of these demons for days. This is adding on to the fact that her Natiba biology gives her adaptation abilities, and the Natiba can adapt all kinds of different crazy crazy abilities, from the ability to fly, to the ability to control the weather, to regeneration, possession abilities, fusion abilities. The Natiba can basically acquire any power they want through their adaptation ability, and she becomes the Elder Natiba, the most powerful Natiba that very likely has the fastest adaptation ability. This means throughout the game, she's fighting all these demons, she's going to become stronger naturally on her way to go fight Ahzrak, which, by the way, she'll probably be strong enough to kill Ahzrak at the beginning of the fucking story. Eve is extremely powerful. It is raining like cats and dogs outside. Can you guys hear that? Man, I hope you guys can't hear that, because I'm just gonna keep going. This isn't including the fact that she can absorb energies to make herself more powerful. She does this with the Eve cores, but she also does this using her sword, the Blood Edge, which in the lore is specifically stated to be able to take energy out of Natiba blood, giving her burst energy. But in the actual gameplay, while you do increase your burst energy by fighting Natibas, you also increase your burst energy by fighting androids that do not have Natiba blood. So it seems like you can just get burst energy from fighting anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be Natibas. So maybe the lore was saying that you can do it by fighting Natibas, but it doesn't say only Natibas. It just says you can get it from Natiba blood, but you can get it really from any source that you can derive energy from. This basically means that Eve is going to be getting massive power-ups from many different sources, from her adaptation ability, from being able to absorb energies from the demons themselves, to any sort of power source and any kind of technology that she comes across, she'll be able to absorb that. We haven't even gone into the fact that she can upgrade all of herself with the different runes and crazy shit the Sentinels can give her. At the start of the story, if the demons fire demonic magic at her, she will not be able to parry it and reflect it back on them. The Blood Edge doesn't have that ability like Doomguy's shield does. But all it would take is having a special magical rune imprinted on her sword, and then she would also get that ability to deflect magical attacks back at the attacker. I don't see a reason why the Sentinels wouldn't give her this. They can proceed to give her all sorts of little cool enhancements, from new armor pieces that have different sort of enchantments, just like the Sentinel armor has, to guns. In her own series, her gun's pathetic compared to what they've got in Doom. Give her some of them Doom guns, she's gonna be good. I think she's running through this whole game with ease. She can become close friends with Thera, and we can get a big exploration on Thera's character through Eve and them talking, communicating with each other. Maybe she can talk with Valen, and Valen's son might get a little romantic with Valen's son, have some little babies, Valen become Grandpa Valen. This is great. It's gonna be great. She's gonna be super happy. Everything's gonna be awesome. Ahzrak's fucked. And overall, I actually think she's a really solid replacement for Doomguy in the story of this game. She is a pure-hearted, incorruptible force that doesn't need to sleep, eat, or stop in any way from fighting the demons, that will constantly become stronger and adapt to every situation. I mean, she's very similar to Doomguy, just, you know, prettier. And I mean, we're all for that, right? But that's all we have for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and join the membership. Remember, if you join the membership, you get access to exclusive videos that no one else gets access to. And always remember, y'all stay safe out there, you hear?